What is the weirdest thing you have had a sexual partner want to do? Story 1. Partner didn't want this but was willing to try. In high school, I worked with a guy who was older and according to him a ladies' man. I believed a lot that he said. One day he tells me, "You know what chicks really like? When you eat them out with the hulls in your mouth. It makes them orgasm in minutes." My GF was cool with it, no pun intended, and I go for it. She's totally into it at first, but after a couple minutes she forcefully pushes my head away and runs to the bathroom. When she comes out, she's laughing and crying. I'm super confused right then. But she explains to me that while she appreciates the gesture, we're never doing that again because as the time quickly passed, the menthol was just as quickly heating up and it was burning. When she sat down to pee, it burned unlike anything she had ever felt. My parents weren't going to be home for a while and she had 2 hours before her mom was picking her up. We watched a movie while she was pantless with her legs spread to let it breathe. Thanks for reminding me. She and I had great times back then. Reply. The old ring of fire. Story 2. Wanted me to dirty talk her with an over-the-top fake German accent. Turns out she had a thing for Colonel Klink from Hogan's Heroes due to watching it on reruns with her dad, and it was an Electra complex that she was dealing with. Even years later, with others, I find my mind wanting to say, "You like Z's?" when doing the deed. Reply. "You like Z's?" is fucking hilarious. OP reply. Yeah, that was kinda the problem. It was like an intrusive thought that once it got into my head, I had to try and not laugh. I can only imagine the confusion those women must have had when it happened. From their point of view, I likely went from normal, though hopefully above average, lovemaking to suddenly smirking and stifling laughter while squinting one eye. I never told them about it, so if there are any comments in this thread wondering why a random guy did the above, well, I guess now they know. Story 3. I had this one girl who wanted to rub my nipples directly on her eyeballs. I never fully understood it. Story 4. When I was in high school, I had a job as a part-time worker closing nights at McDonald's. My classmate had a fantasy of me coming over after I was at work and he would be fake sleeping and I could do anything I wanted to do to him. He left his door unlocked, his parents were gone for the weekend. So I did. It was kinda fun. He nicknamed me the Hamburglar after that. Story 5. First girl I ever slept with when I was 16 wanted me to hold a knife blade to her throat while we had sex. I declined. That relationship taught me a lot about life. Reply. Like to always have a knife handy? Story 6. She wanted to put a pineapple ring around my lil guy and then try and get to it. I figured that might burn, so I said no. I regret that choice. Story 7. She always wanted to get caught, so we did it in public a lot. Or we would go to parties and do it somewhere that somebody would walk by. As long as she had an opportunity to make eye contact with a passerby, whether they were a stranger or not, she was happy. Reply. There's events for that, that way you don't get arrested. Story 8. He wanted to suck my toes, which whatever, that's fine, but that was the entire interaction. He reached fruition from that act alone and we never touched each other. I was under the impression that there would be intercourse, but no. Reply. I will never understand how people bust a nut without any kind of touch. Story 9. I had some guy want to pee in my butt. Pretty odd. And no, it did not happen. Reply. In high school, my group of dudes used the saying, "I'd pee in her butt," instead of, "She's hot." No clue on how it became a thing. Story 10. I had a girl that wanted me to bite her. Not like little sexy nibbles. She wanted like full force bites. Like leave teeth impressions. This was when the Twilight craze was in full swing and she was really into vampires. She wanted me to bite her everywhere though. I didn't bite any of the tender bits or anywhere that could be seen if she was wearing a t-shirt. Lots of stomach and upper arms and inner thighs and on her ass. One night she said, "Fuck it, bite my neck." We had agreed I didn't want to leave marks, which turned into really gnarly bruises that could be seen. She insisted, so I did. I chomped. She said, "Harder," so I did. I was balls deep in this girl at the time. Just for context, I bit her so hard that I actually drew blood. I tasted it and pulled off, and she saw the blood on my lips and could feel it running down her neck. That was probably the biggest orgasm I've ever seen a woman have. She kept telling me to get back on it and suck the blood out, and I'm just sitting there like, nah bro. The orgasm you just had should have broken your back, and I really hope you don't need stitches. She was smoking hot too. She was your typical blonde cheerleader with big boobs. Fucking weird. I ended things with her and she shortly got with some dude that hated my guts for dating her first. He saw the bruises and threatened to kill me, and he'd be watching me for the rest of my life because if I ever put a hand on another woman he'd kill me. He thought I was beating her. I was like, dude, bite her. She was telling him I beat her. He texted me randomly one night just saying, "I bit her, sorry, I thought you were a scumbag." Reply. This story is an emotional roller coaster. I like that it is a bro story disguised into a sex story, after all. Story 11. My college girlfriend wanted me to come to her dance class to see all her friends in their tight clothing so we could have sex immediately after. She said it made her horny knowing I was fucking her right after seeing all the other hot girls. The weird part was that in my opinion she was the only hot girl in the class. I never told her, but I found the other girls in that class very unattractive for various reasons. Story 12. Put it in a girl's butt cause she enjoyed it. Cool, no problem. Then she hops off and squats over my chest and shits it back onto me. I was in shock. She was objectively hot, too, and was kind of shy and quiet. It's always the quiet ones. Reply. I think you need to clarify what it is here. Reply 2. Assuming the cum. So she just wanted to anal cream pie on his chest. Story 13. A girl I hooked up with from my anatomy class in college wanted to shit on me and rub it and then have sex. I left and never talked to her again, and the rest of that semester was very weird. Story 14. This, I guess, after reading all this, isn't that weird. My ex-wife, for other reasons than this, wanted to watch me fuck her friend. Once I found out she was serious and her friend was willing and to a large degree initiated it herself by tugging my pants down and sucking, I complied because I had a huge crush on her, although all the time I was afraid it was some kind of a setup because she was married. It wasn't. Reply. How'd the aftermath go? OP reply. The marriage was kind of crumbling at that point anyway for a number of reasons. We never really discussed it later other than some kind of, wow, that was an interesting, wild night. Her friend and I didn't really see much of each other afterwards and didn't discuss it. I didn't feel as awkward around her afterwards as I thought I might. I have no idea how she felt. As of 10 years ago, she and her husband are still married. I have no idea if he knows anything. Probably not, but who knows? Story 15. Go from banging to dating to living together. Then she decided she wasn't ready to date again, so she wanted to go back to being bang buddies because she wanted the freedom. But I couldn't see other people and still had to do boyfriend shit with her. Like cuckoldry with extra steps. Story 16. While away on a work trip, an old guy offered to pay my bar tab if I fucked his wife while he watched. I declined, until I drank some more and realized my wallet was in my hotel room. Found the old weirdo and went to town on his wife while he whacked it and watched. All for a $125 bar tab. Story 17. One woman I dated asked me to tie her up and melt wax on her vagina. We had been dating for a month or so and had pretty wild sex to that point, I thought. We were at her new house, so she had all the gear and walked me through what to do. Apparently, there's candle wax designed for sex play. Who knew? Anyway, watching someone orgasm just from having hot wax dripped on her clit was something I doubt I'll ever see again. I also realized I'm not really into bondage. Didn't bother me, but got me as turned on as watching the 6 p.m. news. Hey, stop. You're pretty awesome. Subscribe for more. Yo.